Hey guys, it's Suzy, and in this fourth video in the Crash Course of Canvas, that's a lot of words to say, series, we're going to talk about how to do, we talked about assignments in the last video. Now we're going to talk about how, as a teacher, you can grade those assignments using Rubric and also using the Speedgrader. So stay tuned. Let's talk about 3 benefits of Canvas rubrics for one thing. There is no easy way to import a rubric into Canvas from Word unless you've discovered one. I never saw one. And so if it's a pain to get it in there and you're like, oh, we have to copy and paste or type it over, is there a benefit? Yes, I can think of 3 of them. First of all, every high school student, with the exception of maybe 1.5, would lose the rubric I gave them. I'm like, do you know the rubric is for you to read so that when you do the work, you can get a good grade? It did not occur to them. So I started giving them like 5 points for just keeping up with the rubric. I know that's so lame, but I'm like, hey, it works. And so if you want your kids not to lose the rubric, put the rubric in Canvas where they can't lose it. It's impossible. It also keeps you from having to do math. So I was an English teacher. Now I can do math. Geometry was not my favorite, but I liked some algebra. But if you just don't want to have to do that, just know that the rubric within the Speedgrader is tap, tap, tap. It does the grading for you. Woo-hoo! And I'm going to show you that. It appears at the bottom of the assignment page, and so you don't even have to worry about them losing it or you not being able to do math. And so the last one is, if you don't have your computer, you can actually use the rubric and the Speedgrader on the Canvas app. So if you're luxurious enough to be getting your nails done or something, then you could do this at the nail salon or at the puppy wash or wherever else you happen to be at the park with your toddler who's screaming. You can grade from anywhere. So just keep that in mind. Those are your benefits. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to build a rubric in 2 different ways, and then also how to use that rubric in the Speedgrader. Stay tuned. My favorite way to add a rubric is to find the assignment and do it from the main assignments page. Remember, I like to organize my assignments with modules. So if I go to modules, I can find the assignment I'm looking for. I'm going to use this one called Seesaw Activity. And when I get there, once it's saved, you're going to see plus rubric at the bottom. And so that's where I'm going to click. I'm going to start by giving it a title. Every time I see some rubric, it reminds me of Charlotte's Web, some pig. So anyway, I'm just going to call this Seesaw Rubric. You'll notice I make up pretend things that have nothing to do with the actual assignment. That's okay. And then if you want to edit your first criterion, you click the pencil. So the criterion, you're thinking of like the title of the first section. And so I'm going to pause just a minute, pull up a real rubric so that I can just copy and paste and show you that way. Please hold. So if I'm looking at a rubric I used to use for my students, this is a real one we use for Romeo and Juliet, pretty much any essay I taught. And so the criterion would be like thesis statement. Now I could copy and paste that. Let me see if it's faster to do that or not. And then my description would be all these bullet points. Like, what did I mean by write a thesis statement? This is what I meant, okay? It did not keep my same bullets, but that's okay. And then I'm going to update the criterion because they know, okay, this is what I was supposed to do. It's kind of ugly. That's fine. I want functional. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm more about functional than cute. I like cute. I don't always do cute. And then you'll notice this was a 10970. Now, the options that Canvas gives you, and I'm going to go full screen with Canvas now. The options that Canvas gives you are 5 and 0. All you have to do to edit one is if you want to start, I always start with the biggest one and the smallest one. So I'm going to go into the edit mode here on this pencil. My top level for that section was 10 points. It's called full marks, but that's not what I would call it. I might just say exceeds expectations or something. Meets expectations, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm just going to update the rating. You don't have to give a description. I did on the first one, so I just give points over here. You're the boss of you. You've heard me quote Bobby Brown. It's your prerogative. You can do what you want to do. When you then get your top level and your bottom level, so mine was 10970, and I did that mathematically. I wanted my second row to equate to about an 85-ish, and then the third column was like a 70. So what you can do is once you've made your 10 and your 0, if you'll hit this plus in the middle, it'll split the difference, but you can change that. So mine again was 10970. I can call this one meets expectations or almost there or whatever you want to call it. Okay, update rating. Then I want to split the difference again. I wouldn't push this one because then I don't even know what it would do. It'd be like a 9.5. But if I split the difference between 9 and 0, I keep working left to right. I'm going to make this one a 7. That was my 70%. If I'm out of a 100-point rubric, this would add up. And then I'm going to call that one, I don't know, doesn't meet expectations. surely these were labeled better on my real rubric. I even would make witty rubrics sometimes. It just depends on how I was feeling. But you notice now I have my title, how you can get full points or what I was looking for there. Here are my 4 categories, and then here's the total. I would keep on going until my rubric added up to 10, so I'm going to pause and not make you watch me for that. Actually, I will let you watch me on this one thing. I forgot there was a feature where if you click to add a new criterion, so a new row, it actually gives you an option to duplicate. And when you duplicate, you can still edit, but it would have some points filled in. So when I go back to my Word document with the rubric, I have another 1097, 1097. So actually, if I duplicate that twice and just change the title, it's going to save me some time. So stay tuned. I will pause for real, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, I've copied and pasted and duplicated and to my heart's content. And you can see that at the top, this adds to a 100, and hopefully the rubric does as well. I haven't gone back and checked. Oh, yeah, it is right here. Total points 100. And then you have some different options. It says, I'll write free-form comments. If you were going to do that anyway, then you don't want to have necessarily any of these middle columns. You'll just give them however many points you want. That's kind of old school. They just used to write a title on a number on the top of your paper, and you didn't know how you got it. So I do not use that. You can also remove points from the rubric. I wouldn't have put them in if I was going to remove them, but you're the boss. Outcomes results are related to something else I'm going to show you in a minute. Use this rubric for the assignment? Absolutely. If you do that, then you cannot hide the score total. So I actually want this to feed over into Speedgrader. And so once I have set up all my categories, I make sure they add up to the same amount as what I wanted my assignment to be. So I said my assignment was worth 100 points. My rubric also adds up to a 100. And then I'm ready to go use it in the Speedgrader in just a minute. Okay, so remember that was under the assignment. At the very bottom it said plus rubric. And we can reuse that rubric in the future now that it's in Canvas. So stay tuned for my next little snippet. So I told you there were 2 ways to add a rubric. The second way I'm actually not going to go into because it can take us down a rabbit hole, but I did put a QR code here for a reason. You can pause it. That's my you've paused it face. And it'll take you to another way that you can add a rubric. It's via outcomes. The reason you would add a rubric via outcomes is if you wanted to track standards that you have taught. So if you wanted to attach a standard to a particular assignment, it does take 5 points on the rubric. The standard counts for 5 points. So the rest of the rubric would have to make up the difference. But anyway, if you wanted to use this feature, you're going to pause, you're going to go scan this QR code, and you would have to set up your standards. They're called outcomes in Canvas first, using the outcomes menu, and then you could build a rubric. If you don't, just skip this part of the video and go to the next part. Now that we've added the rubric, you're going to love how we use it. Now, my favorite way to go into Speedgrader is to go into the assignment, the same place I found the rubric, and then click Speedgrader. But if you need a different way, if you're in your grade book, then you can tap somewhere. Oh, you have to go into the assignment first. That's right. You can tap the assignment and it takes you right back here. There used to be a different button. I apologize. Okay, so I'm going to go into Speedgrader this way. Okay. And I had this person, which was me. I'm a test student in my own course. I uploaded my own assignment 2 different ways so you could see different features in the Speedgrader and how the rubric could work. If the person uploads a document, as I did here, or if you use the cloud assignment, which I shared in the other video, number 3 that I posted, then you will see a preview of that document right here. If you want to be able to just give it a grade, you can tap here, but I don't want to give it a grade. I want to use the rubric. So I just tap over here, View Rubric, and these are draggy handles, I believe. Yes, I can make the work smaller, my rubric bigger. And then I could, as I'm going through, I could just tap on the rubric. Again, this works from your phone app as well. And you will notice that tap, 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 it does the math for me, okay? It gave this person a 90. I click Save. It's ready. It's in the gradebook. Y'all, that is amazing. Now, the reason I uploaded 2 different types of documents because I wanted you to see in the Speedgrader there are different features here, such as zooming in, zooming out, going full screen if you need to, or back again. But then different types of comments are probably the biggest thing. So when I click Point Annotation, it allows me to tap somewhere, and it leaves a comment similar to what you would do in Google Docs or Office 365. It lets you know, hey, this comment is related to this. This comment relates to this word, okay? And you can also do highlighting. So I can do a highlight annotation. So I get to pick the color of highlighter at the top. Yellow is the default. And then I can leave a comment about that. So this is a comment about a whole section. and then enter will save that. You also can leave text. So if you want to just write right within their document, I can type there, I am typing here. I don't know why you would type in that exact spot, but anyway, you could. And then I can move that. I can leave them an in-text citation or notification if I need to. I have strike through. I don't think striking through someone else's work is very, very politically correct, but you could do that. I think that would be a worse phobia than the red pen that I used to use. You can also draw on something. Here I am saying circle this and leaving whatever kind of comment. This is a circled area. Okay. So I'm leaving all different types of comments. And then I can also select this way. I can draw a box around something and leave a comment. So y'all, you can comment to your heart's desire if they have uploaded a document, because it picks up the same features, like I said, as if they had shared a Google Doc or an Office 365 document. And these features will work the same way if they do. If they have uploaded something that is more like a link or a picture to something outside. So for example, I taught you guys in a previous video about how kids can use Seesaw, but then turn their stuff into Canvas. Then I can't write on this, okay, because it's an outside link. I can basically just come over here. I could still use the rubric, but I could just come over here and leave a general comment. I am leaving a general comment. So if you're someone who does not need to do in-text citations or comments, you can just use this general comment feature. It was on the other box too. You can also leave attachments or voice or video feedback. I won't share those right now. And then you can download any submission comments, okay? When you do this, it's reporting. When you give the grade, it is reporting to the grade book, and kids would get notifications per what they've set up. So I hope this helped you to see how you can create a rubric, but not only how, but why it's important. That was always important to me when I go in to do a training and you're giving up your planning period to be forced to come listen to me. I want you to know why it's valuable. So we looked at rubrics, we looked at why they're important, how to create one 2 different ways. I showed you one of those. And then also how you can use that rubric in Speedgrader. So I hope you loved it. Leave me a comment. Tell me any other feedback you have on rubrics, and I look forward to hearing how this helps you. Thanks. Hey guys, I put my heart into these videos, so I hope you loved it. I hope you've loved all of them, but if you haven't, then make sure you go back and watch the previous videos. I'm making playlists for you all the time. So if you're somebody who wants time savers, there's a playlist for that. If you want to gamify, playlist for that. And all of my themes of my blog. So did you like it? Go ahead and click the thumb below. If you really liked it, I'd love if you shared it on your favorite social media channel. I'm at Suzy Lolley on Twitter. And then finally, my very favorite is if you subscribe. Subscribe to YouTube and subscribe on the blog. Take care.